In today's video, we're going to be discussing dealing with the wind. Now, when you're out playing golf on a course, there's obviously lots of variables to the game that we play. There can be the wind, there can be the hitting the ball up or down a hill, so judging how much further the shot will play because it's uphill versus how much shorter the shot might play because it's downhill. There can be the lie that we're hitting from, fairway versus rough versus fairway bunker. There can be slopes on the ground. There's lots of different variables at play. Managing them and dealing with them and then having the ability to create a solution so you can still get the ball pin high with your approach shot, one of the crucial skills that the best players in the world have all developed. Now, it goes without saying that part of the reason the best players in the world are so good at making those judgments is because they're also really good at executing the golf shot. So if Scottie Scheffler stands there and says, I'm going to hit this shot and it carries 100 yards, you can be pretty certain it's going to carry 100 yards. So very quickly, if the ball goes a bit further or a bit shorter than expecting, he and his caddy can then look at the conditions. Okay, we're at altitude, the ball's gone further, we're playing into the wind, the ball's travelled less distance, the temperature was cooler, whatever it might be, and then they can start to account for that and get really good at making those judgments on the fly. So talking about the wind then today, what we're going to do is we're going to use the practice range function here on the TrackMan. I've set myself up here on a 100-yard shot. It's dead flat. It's not up or downhill. There's no wind. This is a bog standard 100-yard shot. So this is if Scottie Scheffler stood here now, he's going to be peppering the flag with these golf shots. So the aim would be, I'm just going to hit a few shots here. We're going to put the carry number up in the top left-hand corner. Again, this is no wind, no elevation change, nothing. We're just going to hit some shots here, and I'm going to make what feels to me like a 100-yard swing, just to get moving, just to get the feel there of what this shot's like. So it felt pretty decent there. We can see the flag at the back of the green there. Ball flying in. Pretty good. Pitch is a few yards short, so we'll get the carry number in the top left there. So it carried 97. So for me there, if my intent there is to pitch that 100 yards, if that pitch is within 3 yards, which is 9 feet, I'd be more than happy with that on the golf course. In terms of like an execution of a shot, for me, that's a more than good enough tolerance. So we've got no issue there. We'll just hit 2 or 3 more, just so we can sort of vary and validate that this club does that distance nicely. Struck that a little bit cleaner. Feels like that might be a little bit past pin high, but we'll have a little look. Drawing in on the flag nicely. Yeah, so a couple of yards further. And again, we'll just look at the carry number. Right, 103. So again, if you look at those 2 shots straight away, 97, 103, my average is bang on 100, which is what I'd expect my average to be. I guess that's the thing with averages. You may never actually hit that shot, but as long as the tolerance is tight enough. Hit that one a little bit heavy. Would expect that to maybe be a little bit short. Yeah, so I've hit that heavy. It's probably gone, what, 93, 94 perhaps? Yeah, 93 yards. So again, wouldn't be overly happy with that one on the golf course, but still, pitching 7 yards from the pin, that's just over 20 feet. It's not the worst shot in the world. Okay, we'll go 2 more there. So we'll go shoulder high. That feels like the nicest one I've hit. Wouldn't be surprised if that's pretty close. Yeah, drawing in nicely there. Brilliant, yeah. So for me there, we're going to see probably that's pitched bang on 100. I think, yeah, 101. So again, best shot I've hit. So we'll go 1 more. And again, all we're trying to prove here is that this shot for me is a nice 100-yard shot. Again, feels pretty good. I think it's going to be somewhere in around the pin. Yeah, 97, 98 again maybe. So pretty decent. Yeah, 97. Right, okay. So again, the idea there was just to hit some shots, just to show you that that's a shot that travels 100 yards. What we're going to do now is we're going to start to play around with the wind. We're going to experiment with downwind and into the wind and see if we can come up with a formula that allows us to make better decisions when we think about how much we're going to allow for the ball travelling further when it's downwind and shorter when it's back into the wind. Okay, so first we're going to deal with the into the wind shots. Now, I've set the TrackMan here with the wind 10 miles an hour into our face. Okay, so we've got a 100-yard shot with 10 miles an hour wind straight at us. Now, the simple rule of thumb when trying to think about how much to allow for when the wind's into us is that for every 1 mile an hour of the wind in, the ball's going to fly 1 yard less forward. So if it's 10 miles an hour into our faces, we should expect this shot to fly 10 yards less in its distance. Now, we just sort of proved from the shots I hit before that I can pretty reliably hit this shot around about 100 yards, okay, in terms of carry. So the aim here will be, I'm going to make the same swing. We're going to see the impact the wind has. And what we should be seeing now is if we think my spread before was 87 to 93, 97 to 103, then we'd expect now the spread to be somewhere 10 yards less than that. So 87 yards to 93 yards. For me, making the same swing should show us that this 10 miles an hour wind is giving us 10 yards of hurt. So same idea, just going to hit 5 or 6 shots here. Thinking we're going to get 10 yards less out of this. Again, not my best strike. See the ball hanging there a little bit. Yeah, now you can see it coming down on the green there, way short of pin high all of a sudden. So let's see what that's carried. Right, 87 yards, so pretty much bang on as we expected. My first shot with no wind was 97. My first one here is 87. 10 miles an hour is reducing the distance the ball will travel by 10 yards. So again, we'll go 2 or 3 more here. Same principle. That was a better strike. Be interesting to see how that goes. So I struck that one a lot better than the first one there. Again, you can just see it on the TrackMan there hanging. Yeah, it's almost identical where it's pitched, maybe a couple of yards further. So again, 100's my expectation, 10 miles an hour into it, the ball's only pitched 90 yards there. Okay, so we can definitely see there that 1-to-1 rule that we're talking about, 1 mile an hour wind equals 1 yard less carry, works pretty well so far. Again, I don't think I'm going to hit it much cleaner than that. Felt like a lovely strike. Maybe got it a touch further up the green, have I? Yeah, maybe 102, 103, excuse me, 92, 93. Yeah, 92 yards to carry. Right, so straight away there, we can see when we've hit the shots there, no wind, 100 yards was perfectly for my average. Straight away, 3 shots there, 10 miles an hour into, reduces the distance the ball will travel by 10 yards. So your simple rule of thumb, when you're playing into the wind, for every 1 mile an hour of wind you've got into you, the shot's going to play 1 yard longer. So 10 miles an hour, shot plays 10 yards longer. 20 miles an hour, 20 yards longer, and so on. Let's move on now, and we'll try and look at the downwind and see if that has the same effect. Okay, so the process we followed there so far was we verified that I've got a shot I can hit 100 yards. We've then added 10 miles an hour wind into our face and seen that that reduced the distance the ball flew by 10 yards. So again, 1 mile an hour, 1 yard. What we've done now is we've flipped the wind round, so it's now 10 miles an hour straight downwind. Now, the rule of thumb here, and you may well have experienced this from when you're playing out on the course yourself, the benefit you get from a shot flying downwind is never as great as the hurt you receive when you're hitting a shot back into the wind. Now, the rule of thumb here is pretty much half. So if we've got 10 miles an hour down, we should now expect about 5 yards of extra carry. So again, if my spread previously on this standard shot, no wind, with my 48-degree wedge here was 97 to 103, if we add 5 to that, we should now expect it to be 102 to 107, 108, somewhere in that range, okay? So 10 miles an hour down, I'm going to hit the same golf shot. We'll expect that carry number in the top left now to be somewhere in the mid sort of 100, between 100, 110. So 102 to 107, 108, where we're expecting this to be. Again, tiny bit heavy. So it'd be interesting to see if that gets all the way back there. Yeah, I mean, interestingly, it's clearly got right up to the back fringe on the green there. So past pin high, carried 104. So again, pretty decent indication. Be interesting to see what happens if I get a nice clean strike here. That wasn't the best contact, that one. There we go, that's better. That's really representative of the ones I hit earlier. Lovely strike. Clearly getting well past pin high again. Yeah, bouncing just over the back of the green. 105 carry. So again, that's my 100-yard shot down a 10 mile an hour wind has now carried 104, 105. When we were going into that 100-yard shot on average was only carrying 90. All right, so what we're trying to prove there is that rule of thumb is that when we're downwind, we only get half the help compared to the hurt when we're hitting into. So I feel like I might hit that one a little bit harder actually. Got a little bit quicker through the ball there. Yeah, it's carried quite a long way, that one. Could be pushing 110 maybe in carry. Yeah, exactly. So it's gone exactly 110 there. Now, like we said earlier, if we thought earlier that my range on the standard shot was 97 to 103, if we're assuming we've got 5 yards of help here, that shifts that from 97 to 102 as my bottom end and 103 to 108 as my top end. So again, if I'm within 2 yards of that range, I think I'd be pretty happy with that. I don't think that's a poor shot, really. We'll go just one more there, just to prove the point. So again, shoulder high. That felt pretty pleasant. Yeah, you can see the wind carrying it back there quite a long way, just past pin high. So a little look, runs out a bit more as well, interestingly. You see the wind there, obviously stopping some of the backspin. Yeah, okay, just bang on 100 there, but fine. So I think the aim there would be just to give you a bit of a reference for next time you go and play on the golf course. So you can have a little look on maybe an app on your phone just before you play to see what the rough wind strength for the day is. And then anytime you stand over approach shot that's into the wind, you're going to add 1 yard for every mile of hour. So 10 yards, it plays 10 yards longer, 15, 15, 20, 20, and so on. When it comes to hitting a shot downwind, you're only going to use half of that wind number. So 10 miles an hour downwind, we're going to work on the idea the ball might travel 5 yards further. 20 miles an hour downwind, 10 yards further, and so on. I hope you found that helpful. I think that can be a really nice system. And whilst no system's perfect, it can be a really nice system just to give you a starting point for making that decision when you're on the golf course. Hopefully help you pick the right club a little bit more often on your approach shots. Hopefully hit a few more greens on those challenging days when the wind is up, reduce your score, have a little bit more fun, beat your mates, lower your handicap, whatever your goal might be. Let us know how you get on with that. Let us know what other videos you might like to see in the future. Like I said, I think give that a go. Really can help you save some shots on those tricky windy days, particularly in the UK through the winter.